Welcome everybody back to Boost Motion, guys. And today I can't believe it. I can't believe it. If this news is correct, the new E63 isn't going to have a V8 and it's not going to have a four-cylinder. They went with an inline six. Guys, let's go. Let's jump into the video. First thing, shout out to my whole Boost Motion family. I know you guys have already hit the like button. Thank you guys for your support. And if you're new to the Boost Motion channel, I am Boost Motion. I'm a Nissan Infiniti enthusiast, car enthusiast. I'm an owner of an E63S and a former owner of a C63. Oh, with V8. So, guys, this is hitting hard for me, especially that this car I call home. This is completely ridiculous. So, this article was actually in a different language, and Google had translated it for me. So, I'm going to quickly read this article, and we're going to go through it. New 2024 Mercedes-AMG swaps V8 for inline six-cylinder PHV. The straight six engine channels reserves to the front and rear wheels via AMG 9-speed shift. Now, guys, remember this is translating it, so it may not be, the words may not come out right, As with the PHEV companions, the new E63 is configured to receive 7 different AMG screw all of this. With the increase of power and torque, AMG will look to outperform the existing E63S, which reaches 62 miles an hour in 3.4 seconds and reaches a top speed of 186 when equipped with optional AMG driver's package, although a significant increase in weight caused by engine and battery. Now, they're not really giving any information in this article from G7 because I want to hear actual numbers here. If you guys are hinting and they're saying that it's going to be the inline six, now if it's the same inline six that I know, it's called the M256 motor. This is an inline six motor. Technically, it's an AMG motor, and that motor only makes like 430 horsepower, right? And if they're gonna use a hybrid technology, something very similar in the GT63 or even in the C63S, if it's something similar to that, it'll add about additional 200 horsepower. So technically, that means if it is like 430 plus another 200 or maybe 250, the car is only making a little under 700 horsepower. Now, we sit there and think, oh my God, the E63 with 700 horsepower, that's insane. But think about it. The GT63 still has the V8. The S-Class S63 still has a V8. Why are you now taking the V8 out of the E63? It's already a 4,400 pound car, and now you're going to add additional weight to it, but then take away that grunt from the V8. So now this car's going to probably be closer to around a 5,000 pound territory. So both models, I don't even want to talk into this stuff because you guys already know some of these things. But also, guys, remember they can drive on EV mode, where in a C63 you could drive about up to 8 miles in full electric, and GT63, which is the V8 model, they can drive that in about 7.5 miles full electric. And both models use a 4.0 kilowatt of hour battery developed by AMG partnership. Now, the 6-speed engine challenge reserves the front. Okay, that's not telling me anything here that's very important. They're just repeating the same thing. So I don't know if this article is actually correct, because I'm going to go to the second article. The new AMG may ditch its V8 for a straight six at first since in the 90s. So this one is hinting to it actually happening. And they're speaking about some of the things we already said. The 2-liter and the C63. Yes. They talk about the M250C, like the M256 motor. It makes 430 horsepower, like I already sat there and told you guys. They said the AMG system consists of a 6.1 kilowatt hour battery mounted to the rear axle. So this one's a little different with more information, which an electric motor that outputs 201 horsepower. The motor is connected to a 2-speed gearbox with an integrated limited slip differential. So remember these car guys, the GT63, the C63S, and the S63, they pretty much have an electric motor to the back, which has 2 final drive ratios, technically, and a limited slip differential all into one. And that's how they pretty much modulate how fast the car could take off and give it a higher top speed, because they could change the final drive, which is actually kind of dope and insane. The motor connects to, now they said Autocar reports that the AMG is targeting about 700 horsepower and 884 pounds of torque. So presumably it's looking to get over 500 horsepower from the straight six alone. See, that's the part that I'm really the most biggest on, because if the straight six is going to get about 500 horsepower, which technically they can do that. The CLS 53s and East 53s will only make like 430. So they can technically push the car up with more power. But This is where I'm gonna sit there and ask this freaking question, right? And I've said it and I said it in some of my older videos. Why did they not put the M256 in the C63? Why didn't they do that? To me, it would have made the most amount of sense to put the M256 430 horsepower motor, and then you could add the electric to it, and then it would be the car would have a higher glass ceiling. What I mean by that is there's still people like me who like to make more performance out the vehicle and make more additional power. Now, even though they made pretty much the most powerful four cylinder was pushed into the C63, even then, traditionally, I think it would have been better if they just went down to the six cylinder. And I think they completely disrespected the C63 name, AMG badge, by just putting a four cylinder in the C class. But nonetheless, now you chose to put the six cylinder in a 4,400 pound car, then add the EV stuff on top of it. I don't see it really happening. Yes, the car may have close to 700 horsepower, but what was the point? Why would you now say screw the V8 and then put the inline six? It's like they're trying to give you guys a class. Well, if you want the C63, that's why you get the four cylinder. If you want the E class, you get the six cylinder, and if you want the big dog, you get the eight. So they want you to spend money to get the eight, and that's what I always loved about Mercedes kind of back in the day, because if you wanted a V8, you didn't have to get the AMG. You could get like the E550 or the 550 versions or the 500 versions, because they gave you a V8, but it wasn't the full-fledged V8 AMG motor, right? Then they got rid of that and made all of those six cylinders or four cylinders or whatever. And it made sense. Okay, cool. It was the one tier before the AMG. But now it's like they're separating the power plants based on the classes of cars. And I get it, and I see where they're trying to go with it. But honestly, as an AMG owner, keep your goddamn V8. If you got a C63S or C63 with the V8, just understand that sound, that noise ain't coming back. If you got an E63S, they officially punch you right in your balls, because at the end of the day, I can't see myself getting an E63S, which is going to be like 500 to 600 pounds heavier, and I don't have a V8. Yeah, and you gave me the inline six, which is okay, but that power plant alone can't even deal with the additional weight. At least the four cylinder was making like 476 horsepower, and now that chassis is like 4,600 pounds, right? But now you're gonna add even more mass, but then the motor's not delivering an extensive amount of power. I can't take it anymore. But then in good news, they in the GLEs they're gonna keep the V8. The GLE is gonna keep the V8. You want to know why? Because it's damn near a 5,000 pound car. That's it. Because if they put a six cylinder here, which they already have, the inline six, or the regular six was put in the older one, right? It still held its own weight. So I get it, they did it in that, but it was a lower tier AMG 43 and 53s. I get it. They're not going to get the V8 unless you get the full-fledged 63. You get what I'm saying? I don't like where I don't like where they're going with this. Because now when I think about the E63, right? That means that the E43 is probably going to either be a detuned version of the inline six. Now, if it is, it already exists, because you can get pretty much an E43 with the M256 already in it, technically. So, what is going to be so much more different with this inline six that's going to go into the E63 model when the E43 already has the M256? You guys see where I'm going with this? Is it just because it's going to have a smaller turbocharger? Is that really that's all it's going to be? Because if it's that case, be honest with y'all, you'll probably save $40,000-$50,000 and just get the 500 horsepower or close to 500 horsepower E43, which already exists, and just have fun with that car, because that car is 4,400 pounds, right? But at least it doesn't have the additional 500 to 600 pounds of mass in an electric motor. I get the grunt, I get the electric part of it, but no. At the end of the day, I'm completely turned off to it, man. And honestly, I think AMG is definitely dropping the ball, and I see why BMW is starting to pick it up. Well, BMW was already doing their thing, but I see it. I see it now. I see where it's going, and to be quite honest with y'all, AMG, y'all messing up, man. Y'all messing up, and it's supposed to be prestige. I get where you guys are trying to go with it, but give people what they need. You guys have said in the past, you guys do not need to drop the V8s, but why not? That's literally what one of your press guys said. Well, but why not? Why not do it now? Why wait till later when we have to make the changes? Well, because you don't have to make the changes yet, so don't do it. That's it. Trickle that stuff into the lower tier level cars and keep the V8s the V8 until you need to make the full shift over. Period. That's it. So outside of guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. You can add me at boostinmotion.ig, Facebook. Also, you can send me email at boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.